My God, no. No.
We're doing
I'm going to need a lot of that expensive sake.
What the heck?
Oh, that's weird.
That is weird. There we go.
I was like, whoa, what's that?
The show is off the rails already.
Yes.
This music sounds lame. Let's try this one. No, I don't like that one either. Oh my gosh, that sounds funeral home-ish.
Wow.
Where did all my good music go? There we go.
I think you're going to have to rap.
We're starting with that rap, I promise you.
Oh my God.
Welcome to Conversations with Asha and Steve, where communication matters. Join us as we discuss effective ways to communicate, bridge the gaps, and build long-lasting relationships within your business and life. Here are your hosts, Asha Prasad and Steve Harper.
I still did it wrong.
Hey, Steve.
How's it going?
Good. I'm Dr. Asha Prasad with my fantastic co-host Steve Harper. How's it going this Friday?
It is going fantastic. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Yeah, it's been a long week. But before we dive in, apparently there was a rap that you wanted to try.
Oh no!
This is your what world debut to.
Oh no! Oh no! No, you see, you actually were starting the rap before we got on. You know what, Steve, even though he's going to pretend not to know this song right now, but any Rob Bass fans out there, It Takes Two, he was rapping, the whole line with the internationally known, that whole line. So anyway, Steve, you can just pick up from there if you'd like,
No, I'm good. I didn't even know I was rapping until you said it. I don't even know who Rob Bass is. Sounds like a car salesman.
Steve, are you being serious?
Is there... Wait, no. Rob Van Winkle is Vanilla Ice, right?
oh my God. Yeah, that's Ice Baby. That's totally different.
Yeah, no, but his legit name's like Rob Van Winkle.
Well, yeah, no, of course, but yeah.
So tell us how that specific rap line went. Like, if you were just gonna just spin it out there for us.
I can't. I just can't do it. I haven't had enough sake or anything like that to instigate that to come out yet.
Oh. Robert Simmons says, please no.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Agreed.
Well, he said, please no, Steve. So I think he was worried that I was going to start spinning some lyrics here or something. But okay, we now know what our audience does not want.
Yes, they don't want us singing. They don't want us rapping. We got it. We got it.
Well, so yeah, welcome to Conversations with Asha and Steve, and we are excited to be here again for a live stream with you. And Robert says, "Save us all." save us all from apparently rapping. So we now know what we don't start our shows with.
Exactly.
Robert, give us some tips on what we can do to just, embrace what you do want to see. If it's not Dr. Asha rapping on the mic, yo, yo, yo. What is it? I don't know. I don't get it. But we are super excited to be here. I'm trying to figure out why what is going on with our overlay today. You talk, Asha, while I figure out our overlay situation here.
Okay, I don't know what you do. Oh, well, you got rid of it. Well, there we go. That's one way to solve it, Steve.
I just turn it off. There we go. Boom.
So it's really funny because we were talking before we got live. Well, we were talking about a lot of different things, but this is what Steve is like whenever he's had a good night's sleep. And our topic today is sleep better, perform better. And we wanted to talk about how important sleep is. So apparently Steve can rap and sing whenever he's had a good night's sleep. Isn't that true, Steve?
No. But I can try.
Yes.
I obviously can't control our overlays because now it looks like we're like cutting off in our chin. Like we're barely up at the adult table. Hello. You just be like, we look like we have like ginormous heads, but there's no body attached to us because I'm just killing
That's hilarious.
I blame my inefficient lack of preparation for the show today.
It's okay.
I called my office and told them, hey, look, don't talk to me. Don't say anything. I'm coming from out of town. I have to be on my live stream because Dr. Asha will be upset and then she'll turn it into a rap song. And then people will know all over the world that I was delinquent in my efforts to get here on time. And to be fair, I had a meeting. I was way south of Austin. And of course, I'm like, should I do the tollway to get back to be efficient? And NASCAR is in town this weekend. Oh, okay. And so couldn't go the tollway. So I go up I-35 and it's, of course, bumper to bumper traffic for 15 miles. So, yeah. Anyway, but we made it here.
We are glad that you made it.
Overlays or not.
You made it, Steve.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway,
it doesn't matter.
So we're talking about sleep and why it's an essential effort for us to perform at our best, right? This is something I think that comes up for a lot of people. And you know me, Asha, a lot of people are like me and they deal with insomnia. Mine tends to manifest when I'm super stressed and have a lot going on. And I'm super anxious to have this conversation because you are the expert in the space and you know how important it is to be able to gain the level of performance that we really want and need to have for our jobs and our work and our ability to tap into our creativity. So what do you see with your clients and the folks that you deal with as being the biggest impediment to a good night's sleep? And what are the negative impacts of that?
Yeah, it's interesting, Steve, because I think that this is one of the most common things that comes up for people as an issue, that they're not sleeping well, that they're suffering from insomnia. A lot of it has to do with stress. A lot of it has to do with stress induced. But the thing about it is that it's okay. It's natural if you don't sleep, every now and then you don't have a good night's sleep. But what the problem is that whenever it continues and it just becomes your norm, where you just get so used into this rhythm of not sleeping, the downside of that, is definitely health effects. People psychologically suffer from depression. They can't think clearly. They get like this brain fog. They just don't have any energy. As soon as they wake up in the morning, they're reaching for that cup of coffee instead of, which Steve, you don't do that. You go to the gym. You go to the gym though, Steve, which is really the best thing to go do.
Yeah.
To get into some sort of activity or whatever. But long-term effects, negative effects, it really wreaks havoc on your health first and foremost. But then your productivity and your creativity, your ability to solve problems, your ability to have the energy to take you throughout the day is compromised.
Yeah, no doubt. Robert says coyotes are keeping him from sleeping, and he asked me if I can help.
I'm pretty sure Steve could help you.
I don't know if he wants to put me on a bait pole and then just be able to pick them off one by one. I'm a little concerned by the implication as to how I can help. I will say, I'm not a big hunter, Robert. You know this about me. However, I've shot a gun 5 times and successfully ended the life of 5 things. Which I know freaks you out totally, right?
Wait a minute, Steve. What have you shot? 5 things you said.
This is what happens when you're an
concerned.
insomniac. You just apparently can shoot. I don't
What,
know.
in the middle of the night you're shooting? That's how Steve deals with his insomnia.
Well, if you can't sleep, go shoot guns. I mean, geez, let's go. No, I went deer hunting.
No.
I've killed 2 deer, and then I killed 3 javelina, right?
Okay.
So 5 shots. I feel like I am qualified as a sniper at this point. So I think I could probably help Robert get to sleep by taking out those coyotes. Potentially. I don't know.
Potentially.
But-
It's possible.
But I'll get back to you, Robert. My fees are pretty high. I mean, I'm an expert marksman, apparently. So I'm just saying the level of cost goes way, way up when you're dealing with this level of skill. So, but anyway, as far as what we try and talk about relative to performance, that was just kind of way off base.
That's okay. It's okay.
But you were talking about the impact it has, and there's long-term health ramifications for it. And
Yeah.
I've been really cognizant to it, and it's kind of funny. I've been saving up this question to ask you because we've been talking about this as a topic for a while now. And one of the things that I actually find in 2 things actually that I'd be curious about your opinion on. One, they always tell you to quiet your mind, right? So I stopped looking at my phone at least 15 to 30 minutes before I go to bed. I try not to, have a lot of excess light. I even got like a little mask thing to go over my eyes to make it even darker. And that actually has helped. But what's funny is I can have this mental shift, even though I'm trying to quiet the mind. It's like this little devil pops on and says, hey, you know what? Just because you're trying to breathe and relax and do all that, guess what? Now you're not going to be able to. You can't, you're not going to, you might be comfortable, but you're not going to be able to fall asleep. And it literally is this nagging thing. And then from there, it's like this little drip. Like when you hear the faucet or the shower drip,
It just keeps
the
on.
mind just keeps like, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? And the next thing you know, this thing expands and blows up into something significant. So is that normal for people that deal with sleeping issues or, tend to be insomniacs? And how do you quiet that? If quieting down and actually, I do these sleep programs like, the little meditation things that you can find on YouTube. And I even paid for a program once that's supposed to do it. And the whole damn thing just like keys me up. Like I'm supposed to be like all relaxed and everything. I'm like ready to go apparently shoot coyotes or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know what, Steve? It is normal. It's one of those things, though. Okay, here's the thing. Whatever we do on a regular basis to train our mind to quiet down when it needs to quiet down, to be active whenever it needs to be active, is going to, throughout your day, what you're doing, what you're training your mind to do is what we can do at nighttime as well. It's important to have a certain ritual at nighttime for our sleep, to prepare ourselves mentally to be prepared to shut off. And that doesn't come just like that. And a lot of people deal with that problem of just, being able to shut the mind off, just like with meditation, for example. A lot of people have a difficult time just kind of slowing things down. For those people, one of the things that I highly recommend with a lot of my clients and even patients is that for them, it may be that music or brainwave music will help them actually come down. So it's not like they're stimulating their mind, but there's certain brain waves that we have that actually, whenever we're in our sleeping, whenever we're wanting to go to sleep, certain brain waves that are activated more. And, I usually recommend to those people to listen to that as they drift off to sleep, because it's going to help them. It's also to realize that we're not the mind chatter that's going on, to separate ourselves from that. And I know that sounds maybe a little strange. What I mean by that is that that's also something that we have to master and train ourselves to do, to be able to shift our thought processes. So like, for example, whenever you're having a negative thought during the day, we can either become that negative thought and let it take us somewhere, just like what you're talking about, like the mind chatter, just one thing starts and then it leads you to another thing, it leads you to another thing. We've got to be able to just separate ourselves from that. And the more that we practice that, the easier that will become whenever we're trying to drift off to sleep.
So it's interesting you say that, because I feel like I perfect that really well during the day. Like the waking hours, I have, when I'm really stressed, I've got a special area in my office that I can go to and I can just relax. I have no problem. In fact, I really feel like I've mastered that skill during the day, but it's at night when I'm laying in bed, and then all of a sudden it's like, and that little chatter starts, and everything I do during the day to quiet that chatter during the day, that strategy doesn't seem to work.
Yeah. Have you tried listening to certain types of music or certain even sounds or certain things that are going to stimulate the parts of your brain that, what have you...
So I have listened to the Kumbaya music. I've listened to little waterfalls, birds are chirping. You know what puts me to sleep? Death metal. Puts you to sleep?
Okay, then. No wonder he doesn't know who Rob Bass is. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, interesting. Well,
yeah, but it's like a reverse. Like I can put,
and that's fine.
I can put Metallica. They're not really death metal. They're more like
but
Neil Diamond's version of.
I was like, metal. They're metal light.
They're metal light. Yeah. Don't tell that Lars guy that he'll just.
I know. He will go off. I know. Oh,
well, like 5-Finger Death Punch or whatever. I listen to some obscure bands. Yeah. But it is weird, and all of a sudden it's just like, okay, boom, and then I will fall asleep. Yeah. I'll generally wake up fairly easily. Mm-hmm. So I'll turn off my phone or take my earbuds out. But it is funny how that what you would think would be a complete opposite of, it would key you up, actually is some sort of form of calming me down. So what do you say about that, Dr. Asha? I mean, come on, tell me.
It's about your nervous system. I'm going to get really geeky here in a moment, talking about the nervous system. I don't want to go off on too much on a tangent on that. But it is about like the part of your nervous system that is used to getting stimulated. And for some people, it is quite the opposite. You have to figure out what it is for you. I do have a question for you, Steve. Do you turn your Wi-Fi off at night?
No. Oh, like Wi-Fi off my phone or in the house?
Well, it depends. Where's your router? Like, is it near your bedroom?
It's directly below our
bedroom.
I
would try turning off your Wi-Fi at night.
Oh, great. So then I won't sleep, but my kids will have a higher chance of murdering me when I do fall asleep.
Okay, yeah, no. There has to be a negotiated, agreed time that thing gets turned out.
Yeah, you've met my kids. It's never going to happen.
I know, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. That's not going to happen.
And that could be part of my sleeping problem, too. They're out screaming at other kids on the internet about what they're doing on Fortnite or Call of Duty or whatever.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I mean, so that it is funny you said that, because I had another friend that had said that there's like a rug. Like if you're in a second-story house like we are, there's a rug that will actually do something relative to, sort of evening out the signal, so that if you're super sensitive to, the airwaves or whatever, that's happening. We have so many electronics in our house that I'm probably like, I could microwave a chicken just letting it sit.
Yep. Just letting it sit there in the living room.
That could be the sleeping problem that we're talking about. I don't know, but
it's so interesting that you say that. It's so interesting that you say that, Steve, because whenever I was visiting relatives a while ago, I had such trouble sleeping in their house because they have so many electronics and they have TVs in every room and they have just so much going on there that I was just like, what is going on? Why am I not able to sleep? And then I realized, because I'm super sensitive to that, because for me, yes, I have electronics in the house. We do have those here. But I have made sure, like in the bedroom especially, there's nothing in there. And also my Wi-Fi, we turn the Wi-Fi off at night.
Wow.
Because I notice a huge difference. Huge difference. Yeah, and some people are more sensitive to that.
Well, okay, so I might try that. I might have to try that.
Yeah.
What do you say to people that are, aside from the electronics or other, type of technical interference that you might be having, what about people that are coming into their nighttime hours, their nighttime routine, that are dealing with or carry a whole lot of stress, right? So, number of my coaching clients, it's easy to give advice even though I can't follow it a lot of times, but a lot of times it's, you have to have that mental cutoff period, right? From the time you stop kind of working to the time you stop thinking about work, to finding some activity. And it's kind of funny because you hear everybody's like, well, okay, what's your nighttime routine? Well, I come home from work. It's been a long day, a lot of stress, a lot of things that I've been dealing with. and the first thing I do is I flip on the TV, right? And I'm watching the news or something that has, a bit of a stress factor. So it's like I take the work stress and I just add to it with now the world
exactly
problems,
the world problems. Yeah.
So then you ask them, well, okay, what do you do after that? And it's like, well, then I generally, turn on Netflix or I'm, watching a show or whatever. And it's, that form of stimulant just continues to carry forward, right? In a lot of respects. And I think a lot of people think that that's a cause for unwinding, but oftentimes it's another thing that's kind of, poking you that is going to prevent you from having a restful, relaxing evening prior to getting into your nighttime routine, right?
Yeah, you know what, Steve, and that's what I was talking about earlier with like your nervous system. It's like there's a certain part of our nervous system that is stimulated by kind of like this fight or flight. It's the sympathetic nervous system that gets overstimulated when we're busy and we've got things to do. And we're just transferring that. So we're keeping our level like at a certain level like this. And maybe it might go down a little bit because we're not having to deal with work necessarily, but it's still keeping us at that level instead of doing kind of this and stimulating the other part of the nervous system. And that's what we've got to get better at, and figuring out how we can actually just be able to really, really come into a restful state. So that way your body can, if you've got a long day that you've had, your body should be naturally exhausted. You should be feeling tired and exhausted. And if you're not feeling that, I know people that will go work out in the evening, for example, in order for them to feel exhausted to go to sleep. Now, the thing about that is that I don't really suggest that necessarily. I know it's a way for some people because they need to feel exhausted, but you got to figure out different ways that you can release that exhaustion. Working out, I don't really recommend that in the evening time just because of what it does in the body, although I know a lot of people do that. But yeah, you have to see what it is for yourself and make sure that you're not transferring that stress into some other form.
Yeah, I used to use the evening time as my workout time, and what I would find is all that, your chemistry is off, right? Your endorphins have like kicked in because you've been, working out, lifting weights or running or doing whatever, and it actually made it even bigger challenge for me. The difference is, playing soccer like I do. I'll have a game tonight, and I have gotten better at that because my body has seemed to have figured out, okay, at least once or twice a week, this is what's happening. I'm not going to hold that extra energy in reserve. It seems to release. Whereas before, it would take me, I'd come home from a game, I'd like have an 11:45 at night game, and I wouldn't fall asleep till 3, and I'd get up at 4:30. So that was no good. And so then you'd have this big challenge. But now the body actually is like, okay, well, you just topped it off, like you were totally spent for the rest of the evening. And so I tend to sleep much better after that. But if I went and lifted weights or did something else, it would be a completely different chemistry reaction, I think, from the body's perspective, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what happens. And we don't even realize that we're doing it to ourselves in that way because people think, well, gosh, I'm just going to work myself out and be so exhausted. But you're actually probably not even getting into deep sleep after that. You may sleep, you may just like crash, but you're probably not even getting into any kind of deep sleep after that.
So the kind of the nighttime routine that, that is important to find the best level of relaxation.
Yeah.
Doesn't involve electronics, generally doesn't involve, any kind of television or watching a movie, et cetera.
Yeah.
Really, do you recommend people to take a particular amount of time prior to going to sleep to kind of quiet themselves, kind of, not have any kind of, outside interference or influence? Do you recommend reading a book or doing any of those kinds of activities, or what's the best kind of foolproof way to have a good night, a good start to that restful routine?
Right. I think, anything like, first of all, having a consistent time that you go to bed. Like if you're, if 10 o'clock is your time, 11 o'clock is your time, okay, that's what it is. So about an hour to an hour and a half before then, you don't really want too much external stimulus. So still give yourself some time to do those things, But then like I would say definitely an hour before, you definitely don't want to be dealing with any electronics. You don't want to be eating anything. You don't want to be doing anything that's going to be asking your body and your brain especially for more attention. So that's the time that you want to start coming down. Now, reading a book can be very relaxing. Again, it depends. Are you on your e-reader or are you actually physically holding a book? Because, on an e-reader or on your phone, that's also taxing you. You're also, exposing yourself to the blue light. You're exposing yourself to the electronic piece. So, finding things that bring you into relaxation, and maybe it is listening to some music, or maybe you have a hobby, maybe you like to play an instrument, whatever it is, to really bring yourself into this calmness so that way your body can get ready to, to rest.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. On days that I know that I've had a stressful day and there's a likely outcome of not a restful night of sleep ahead of me, I play my guitar or fiddle with my piano a little bit, just because that there is something that is that shift, right? Mental shift when you're doing something that, to a certain degree takes a little bit of mental effort to do, but you can kind of get lost in that and in that activity. And I can find the same way if I'm reading for pleasure. My other problem when I was an early entrepreneur as a business leader, I was reading so many business books, and I would tend to read it, whenever I had opportunity, but mostly at night, right? And that was I thought a big problem for me, because you'd see or read something that would be a good idea for your company or for whatever it is. And now all of a sudden you can't turn your brain off. Like, how could I do that? How could I do something similar? What, why didn't I think about that? And how am I going to implement that process? And so that tended to be a big distraction for me. And once I eliminated any kind of business oriented books, it really did make a pretty significant change. What about drugs? Like, not.
What kind of drugs? Let's see.
We're a G-rated show, so you have to go to Dr. Asha, Prasad, and Steve's after hours conversations to talk about the illicit drugs. But I mean, you once knew when I was going through a real stressful period of time, you sent me some magnesium. Drop shipped it from your supplier, and I took that. I would take a half, like you said, at dinner, and then I would take a full dose at maybe about 45 minutes before I went to bed. What is that doing for my body chemistry? And is that I know it's not necessarily a drug, it's more of a supplement, but is that one of several that you recommend, or is that one the best one?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? There are so many different ones. I mean, you hear a lot of people that take melatonin, for example. And melatonin is something that the body makes naturally in the pineal gland in the middle of the brain. Okay. And one of the things, I'm not a huge fan of melatonin, although some people, swear by it, because I think that you should allow the body to make it on its own. Do things to stimulate the pineal gland to, generate that naturally.
The pineal gland or the pine tree gland?
It does look like a pine cone.
The pineal.
Pineal. So Pineal.
It's like Shamil, but pineal.
But pineal. Not now I can't even say it. It's that little gland in the middle of the head.
Don't worry, for any of you that are listening, you don't actually have to go into brain surgery tomorrow. Dr. Asha's got you covered. She will tell you exactly where to find your pine cone in your brain. So.
In your brain, exactly. Oh my God. I mean, just like little things like making sure that you are in fresh air every day, in sunlight, these kinds of things help stimulate parts of the brain, and that can help generate the melatonin being produced in the body. Okay. So melatonin is one of them that you can definitely supplement with. The reason why I had sent you the magnesium is one of those minerals that we, do get in a lot of our foods, but there are different forms of magnesium that are out there. And some of them are really good at helping the nervous system calm down and bringing more relaxation into the body, especially if you're like high strung, high intensity all day long, which you are, Steve. So it's like you're using a lot of your reserves. You're using a lot of your, so magnesium is one of them that I highly recommend. A lot of my patients and clients take magnesium because, and certain forms of magnesium, because it does help just on a natural basis, just a natural way to be able to relax the body. The problem with taking prescription medication is that there are lots of side effects for that. Your body will get addicted to it. And then it's going to be very difficult for you to probably address the real cause of what's going on, what's really causing the problem. And, for short term, I understand it. Some people need it. They just need it because they haven't slept in weeks, days, months, whatever it is, they need it. But not on a regular basis. It's not highly advised because there's so many other side effects to it.
Yeah, no, that's really good advice.
Yeah.
And, having been someone that had that challenge with medication where, it helped for a very short period of time and then became just more or less a hindrance on everything.
Exactly.
I totally understand that. So, switch gears for just a second. When we talk about sleep having an impact on performance, talking to the entrepreneurs and the business leaders that are fans of this show and our YouTube channel, there's almost a badge of courage for business leaders or entrepreneurs, especially it's like you have some sort of, pride by saying, I sleep 2 hours a night and I'm working on my business, the other 22 hours or, that I only need 3 hours of sleep a night. You hear it continually from entrepreneurs that are trying to grow and scale a business. And you would say that's not a good thing, right? At the end of the day, it's going to end up coming back to bite them in the backside.
It definitely is. I mean, here's the thing, you know what? And I understand sometimes you're going to have those long days. You're going to have those 19, 20-hour days. That's just the fact of the matter when you're an entrepreneur. However, to pride yourself on the fact that you only get 2 or 3 hours of sleep is nothing to really brag about, I have to tell you, because it's going to, cloud your judgment. It's going to eventually, get you to the point where you're not going to be creative. You're not going to be productive. And first and foremost, I do believe as an entrepreneur, we have to learn how to take care of ourselves from the get-go. If you do not take care of yourself, you're not going to have a business anymore. It's just not. And I've seen it happen, Steve. I know that you have too, over and over again. And sleep is one of the biggest things. I mean, you've got to have that balance. And, be proud to say that you slept 7 hours, proud to say that. I mean, it's okay. No one needs to be working, my opinion, of course. And I've learned this over the years, though. I will tell you, when I first started, that was a totally different story. I could go on a lot less sleep, but I realized very quickly that, wait a second, you know what? This is going to have long-term effects. And I don't want that. I want to be going for a very long time, as long as I can. So, it's part of that self-care.
Yeah, and it is a badge of courage that I proudly wore for a long time. I would go to bed late, get up early, and then would wonder why I was depressed or, just stressed all the time. And I used to, one of my favorite movies is Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. And Wade Garrett has the most famous line, "I'll get all the sleep I need when I'm dead." You're right. I remember that was my thing. That was what I did because, I'd be like, I don't need sleep. I will eventually get that when I find my success or my pot of gold or whatever. And then you realize, you feel like a hamster, on the wheel because everything becomes the same old BS every day. And you get into this mundane routine and you combine that with the fact that all of this stuff is happening to you that you don't see that is really tearing at your innovation and your creativity and your peaceful mind because you aren't allowing your body to rest and you're not allowing your mind to rest and recover and relax. And so I know for a fact, I mean, it's painful when the insomnia hits. There's no predictability on it for me, but my bouts of it have gone less and less. And I absolutely try and suck up every single chance I get to sleep now because I recognize how valuable and important it is to my creativity.
Yeah, you know what, Steve? It's interesting because I have realized that actually being well rested, mind and body, being well rested will actually get you to your goals a lot quicker than what you think, because you spend yourself, you really spend all your energy chasing, like what you were saying, and you're so exhausted. Even if you do achieve whatever it is that you're set out to, you're so exhausted you can't even enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not fun. Like, that's, I'm asleep at the table here. What's going on? This is not fun.
Well, everybody's having a great time. You're just like,
Exactly.
oh, wow.
Exactly.
But your employees are just like, hey, get his credit card so we can just
I
keep
know.
having a good time.
I know. Make sure there's an open tab.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's on this guy. This guy.
Exactly.
It's on Dr. Asha. What's wrong with her? Oh, she has a drug problem, but we try to ignore it. She takes way too much melatonin. Melatonin.
Exactly.
Melatonin? What is
Melatonin.
it? Melatonin. Not like Daytona. Melatonin.
Not like Daytona. Melatonin.
Here's the exact reason why I don't have doctor in front of my name. Because I would just make up, I believe you've got this thing and you're going to take this melatonin and it's going to work on that little pine cone in your brain and you'll be fine. You sound legit like, hey, look, I went to school. I know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to that guy. Crazy. Well, gosh. So as we look to wind down this episode, I mean, it's been a really fascinating conversation. And, hopefully everybody that sees this on the replay or listens to the podcast has benefited from it. And if you have questions, let us know because we'd love to answer them because there may be specific scenarios or situations that you're dealing with that we didn't talk about or that might be unique to you that you'd like us to, to touch on. And we could get back to you personally, or we can, maybe, talk about it in a future episode. But as we wind down, Asha, what are three last tips that you might give people to, get the most out of their sleeping experience to be the best possible people they can be?
I would say, first thing, make it a priority. Actually literally schedule it in, meaning, if you're one of those people that are just living by your schedule, your calendar, schedule it in. Schedule in your time of sleep, make it a priority, just like you do your workouts and whatever else you're doing to take care of yourself. The other thing is I would say be easy with yourself. Don't beat yourself up if you're laying there just kind of rehashing the whole day and not able to shut down the mind. It takes some seeking out of some things that work for you. Like, for Steve, it's heavy metal. It's like, it may not be brainwave music for you. Like, it's okay, but there's so many different things that you can do. So find what it is for yourself and, start small. If you're one of those people that literally are sleeping 2 to 3 hours, make small goals for yourself that you really want to, sleep an extra 20 minutes, go up by 20 minutes, increments, take a nap, take a 20-minute power nap in the afternoon. That will help you at least rest your mind.
That has definitely helped me. I have a tendency to go and try a little bit of meditation during the day. And that meditation ends up being, catching a 10-minute, 15-minute cat nap. And it's done wonders for me. We do have a really good question by Vince Leslie. And Vince, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Big shout out to you. He says, hi, Steve and Asha. By the way, I don't just read these because Asha can't read them. She can't actually see the questions.
I can't see them. I'm like, where is this?
This is what I do to have ultimate control. I have to be no, I'm just kidding. You could totally take this over. It would be fun. The overlays would work perfect if it was just you. Instead of us just like, right now, this question is so big, it looks like we're just above our noses. Anyway.
It's like right here.
He says, hi, Steve and Asha. Hi, Vince. Hope you're both doing well. We're doing great. I've got a question for Asha because she is clearly way smarter than you. Steve, on melatonin, not melatona. I've been taking it for the last 7 months, 5 milligrams, and it's really helped me develop a solid sleep routine. I feel well rested basically every day. Prior to it, I did not have a consistent routine for sleep for 2 to 3 months. Just curious as to why you recommend not taking melatonin and allowing your body to do it by itself. Thanks.
That's a great question. And you know what? Here's the thing. If it works for you, everybody is going to be different. Okay. Yep. And what I meant by that, by saying, I don't recommend to take it. If you can, if there are other things that you've tried that haven't, like magnesium or some other things, if those haven't worked and you have to use melatonin, that's absolutely fine. Because obviously with the fact that you've been taking it for 7 months and it's been getting you in a good sleep routine, that's awesome. Because that's what you want. That's what you want.
Is it something that you'd recommend that he try and then maybe start to take less and less of it and then see if his body just naturally started picking up? Because Correct me if I'm wrong.
Exactly.
Some people don't, their brain chemistry doesn't always give you what you need, right?
Exactly. And you know what? It sounds like probably that's exactly what he needed, because melatonin wasn't being produced naturally in his body, which happens to people. So it may be something that you might want to try to kind of, maybe every other night, or maybe just half the dosage or whatever, and just see what happens, because maybe your body's been stimulated enough to be able to make it on its own. But I would say, you know what, Vince, if it's helping you, awesome. That is really great.
So I happen to know this guy, and he happens to play video games with my kids, and I think that they are part of your sleep problem, Vince. I'm just saying. Because they are mine.
Calling your kids out because they are yours, Steve.
Screaming all the time. Like, why are you screaming all the time? So angry.
Does anybody hear them other than you?
Oh, they're all talking to, like, I don't know. They yeah. Back in the day when we were kids, we didn't have that. Like, you were playing Pac-Man, you weren't screaming at some other kid because he took your power pill. I don't know. It's odd. It's very odd. I totally dated myself right there. But Vince, I think that could be part of your problem. So you should send them a bill for your melatonin, that they're the cause of it. Which, no, don't do that, because it'll just end up I have to pay it.
I was just going to say, Steve, you're just sending yourself a bill. You realize that, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, before my son figures out how to hack this show and take us off the air, let me ask you, how do people, this is a great topic, great space for us to have this conversation, and we greatly appreciate everybody that participated. Tell everybody how they might suggest a future show episode. I mean, this actually came from a listener, right? So this was a perfect one. So how else can people submit, ideas or thoughts about what they'd like us to have conversations about in the future?
So definitely people can visit our website at conversationswithashaandsteve.com, or you can contact us on Facebook or Instagram, DMS or whatever. Just let us know. On those ways of, I don't know, do we get messages on Instagram? We do, Steve, right? We do. I think we do.
I
Steve
think so.
Doesn't check them, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know how to check them, but I mean, I'm sure people are messaging us there, and somebody way smarter than me is accessing them.
No, but you can reach out to us on any of those platforms and let us know, definitely, because we get topics quite a bit, and we love to talk about things that you are interested in hearing and can be helpful for you.
Well, and Asha, so tell people two things. I want everybody to know about the prasadmethod.com. That's your website, and I'm going to put that up there. A phenomenal resource. You've got great articles. You've got your own podcast. You've got some resources. I know you've talked about sleep issues before on your past episodes of your podcast. You've got some great posts as well. So definitely check out the prasadmethod.com, and then be sure to check out Asha's book, Authentic Alignment, How Ancient Wisdom and Modern Science Can Revitalize Your Health, Happiness, and Potential, because you actually touch about some of these concerns that we just mentioned, right?
Absolutely, because it's all about, in that book, I'm really addressing, how all of it works together. Your physical, your mental, your spiritual, emotional, all of that health, and sleep is a big, big, big part of it. So I do address that in that book.
Yep. Look for the book, Authentic Alignment, either on Asha's website or Amazon. It's definitely a must-have. You got to have it. I've got my autographed copy and a few extra copies I give out to clients because it's just so good. So
thank you, Steve.
Well, and your next book is coming out soon.
It is coming out soon. I'm excited. We're getting closer. I can't release too much about it quite yet, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to talk about it, Steve.
All right. We're going to do a whole episode where we talk about this book. It's phenomenal. I have it on good authority from someone other than Asha that it is a really good book.
Okay.
I am not lucky enough to apparently rate a preview copy of anything, but I'm not.
Oh, you will.
I'm not offended much.
Oh, just keep your eyes out for your inbox soon.
Awesome. Well, and if anybody,
Steve, how can people find you?
Oh, yeah. Well, you can go to my website at ripplecentral.com, or you can follow me on social media at rippleon. I have a book out as well, The Ripple Effect: Maximizing the Power of Relationships for Your Life and Business, the third edition. because 2 editions just was not enough. Third, hey, we had to bring out a third with more, more information, more data, specifically around how to connect in these crazy times of COVID and all of that stuff. But you can get autographed copies at ripplecentral.com. It's also available on Amazon, and we now have it on Audible, which has been a hoot of experience to get it up there, get it engineered and put it out there, and then to see how people like it, because some people like the sound of my voice and some people do not. So that's okay. That's not a problem. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Oh, Vince gave us one last comment. He said, I will definitely be having some sleep issues over the summer with my boys. Thank you for the answer. I'll try having the dosage. Having. I can't talk to you. I don't understand. I think it's too much coffee. That could be my other sleep problem. It's way too much caffeine.
It's because you actually needed to rap instead of talk.
Yeah, so. Well, maybe next time. Yeah. Maybe next time.
Yeah. See, there he goes.
All right, Asha, this is great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we will be back soon with another episode of Conversations with Asha and Steve. But bye for now.
Perfect. Bye.